this.
Right.
I need you to be able to able to fill this role.
Right. And if they can't, then it's time to break up. So I think the reason why unicorn hunting has been so disparaged is because people take it to extremes.
Oh, yeah.
And they set up a hierarchical nature of, well, we were here first, so we don't have to move. You have to do all the moving. You, the new person, has to go through a hazing ritual almost to get into this family. And obviously, that shouldn't be the case.
And not only that, the person who set up those boundaries in the first place has kind of like the final say-so. And a lot of times then it can be used to not have that person grow within their expectations and capacity. And they don't end up taking anybody else's feelings into consideration. That is unicorn hunting.
Mm-hmm.
The other things where you're trying to find the right person, that's not unicorn hunting. If you're using it as excuse to be like, oh no, absolutely not, and not taking the relationship that's evolved into consideration, that is a problem.
And also there needs to be an allowance that this person might not fit the space that you had planned, but they might still fit somewhere.
Right.
So a person comes in and let's say this family would, you know what this family could use? This family could use a, I don't know, bisexual male right here.
Are you trying to hint at something?
No. I'm trying to find an example, and this is
okay.
Typically, typically people are looking for bisexual females, but so I just decided to go the other way with it. So there you have that they're looking for. You find somebody like that, and they don't get on with everybody. So now they're only dating this person, or they're only dating these two and not that one. If you're looking for somebody to fill a role, and if you've established relationships in a polycule, you might have to get over the idea that it might not fit the way you want. It might not be that perfect box.
But there might be something else that it can totally fulfill.
Absolutely.
And you have to be flexible. Mm-hmm. So, I mean...
Like putting your feet behind your head?
If the situation calls for it.
Yeah.
You just got to take one for the team and do that.
All right, then.
Oh, why do you two never do that? I'm the only one who does that.
I can't. I'm not that flexible.
I don't know. We're going to have to try.
Stretching regimen for you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I like where this is going. I really don't know if I like where this is going.
So here's the thing. So you had that rule set up when you first started in your very first polycule.
Mm-hmm.
You had that rule set up. Here's another thing that can happen with rules.
They're meant to be broken.
That's the problem right there.
And it totally was.
Because when I first started into the poly life, I was still with X. And we would set up rules. And what I found over the course of time, that the rules were not for her. They were for me.
Oh, no. Well, hold on. Let me just say that different. The rules were there for her to break because she got a thrill out of breaking that and telling you that she broke the rules.
It all went hand in hand. So we'd make a rule like...
no kissing, only anal.
Oh, no, yeah, really?
No.
No, like this. We started out, we kind of towed the water a little bit and got into polyamory slowly. Polyamory. Yes. Polyamory direction.
What are you doing here exactly?
So we started out slowly. And we started off kind of testing the waters and whatnot. One of the rules we came up with first was that we would not engage in any sexual activity if the other person wasn't in the room. That was one of the first rules. So we all had to be there.
Well, this was your venture into swinging, not poly.
Well, it all kind of went one after the other. And so that was one of our... we started off on the swinging end of the spectrum, sure. So that was one rule. And when that rule didn't work out, we went to the rule of the person has to at least be in the house. This is because when the first rule was broken, that was true. So we figured...
Well, what about the rule of zip codes and area codes and states?
Those did come up. So anyway, that illustrated to me a particular problem in rules in general.
Oh, I thought you were talking about X in general.
Well, yes, but rules in general, because here's the thing. If you need the rule, you're already in trouble. Because somebody already wants to do a thing. And now that you've put the rule on, now somebody's being restrained.
Somebody is already uncomfortable with the thought of you doing the thing.
Right. And that is the thing that's the problem. So not the thought of them doing, but the thought of you doing it.
Well, so let's just repeat that. So basically, rules are created because the person that is creating the said rule is not comfortable with the person they are instilling said rule upon doing that thing. Mm-hmm. So if you say, you can totally do anal, but you cannot kiss on the left cheek at 8 p.m. on a Friday.
Well, what if the moon's full, though?
Well, moon full is, obviously that's an exception.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure.
But, I mean, you can be so specific. There were rules set against us. And, when we totally felt like we were within said rules. And not only rules, you have to be really specific. Because, I mean...
Well, which is why the example of, left cheek, moon full.
Exactly. Okay, so I didn't realize this until a couple years ago, but everybody has a different definition of what sex entails.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is absolutely true.
And this
sex entails? What the fuck is that? I've never heard sex entails.
At Ren Fair, that you wear a tail if you're DTF or you don't.
Oh, I did not know that.
Okay, if anybody would like to gift us something, a dictionary for Zan would be awesome.
Yes. You would think with as much as he utilizes the internet, he would know these things, but he does not, sadly enough. Anyway. We're having a lot of fun at his expense today.
Yes.
But yes, so you have to define what you mean by said terms, because sex to some people means any sort of penetration whatsoever, like oral, BJs,
HJs,
fingers, anything.
Digitally stimulated.
That so sounds like a computer. You're just watching porn on the internet.
Even emotionally, you can have
emotionally
sex.
You can penetrate somebody emotionally?
Or you could...
My emotions shall penetrate you.
No,
really.
I know exactly what you mean. And people using grinding until they finish could still be considered sex.
Yeah.
You're using your genitals against this other person's genitals to stimulate yourself into orgasm.
Or other parts of their body.
For good or evil?
For it's all for good.
Anyway, you have to be specific if you're going to define rules, especially for people like me, because I'm like, this is what I think sex is, and we're definitely not doing that, but we're doing all this other stuff, and then you get back, and it's none of it is okay, and then there's a blowout, and it's horrible.
And that goes with the whole thing, that if you're going to sit there and work things out and communicate,
take a sip,
be specific and be clear. But beyond that, there are going to be situations where the person, if you're going to have rules, you really need to try to not be upset when the rule isn't violated and you feel some kind of way anyway because it got awful close.
Right. And that's the thing about the rule, is the fact that, like, it may get close and it's like, you know what, I can't because of rule, 1, section 2.
Yeah, you can't pull a Sheldon off of,
right.
Off of, oh my God, I'm singing the theme song in my head.
What's it called?
Oh my God, Sheldon Cooper.
Yeah.
And Raj and Penny and...
My mind is totally bleached right out.
I have failed. And I love that show.
Big Bang Theory.
There it is.
Yeah, you can't pull a Sheldon Cooper off of Big Bang Theory and be like, in section article 32 of whatever, chapter 5, this is what was said and stated. I mean, I guess you totally can, but I really don't. That's a lot of work.
Very few humans have the capacity to look back in their mental file and come across and review and interpret all of the rules that have been set out when they are horny and in imminent space of possibly engaging in sexual activity.
Well, and experiencing NRE.
I'm so glad I'm not human.
Oh my God.
But the point, if you're... It feels awful to reel things back when you're in a new relationship. it feels awful to have to rein yourself in because so-and-so feels some kind of way about action A.
Yeah.
And you really, really are in a space where you would love some action A with your new...
Whatever.
With your new poly person, with your new date, with your new love, with your new interest. And whatever the fill-in-the-blank thing is...
Let's play Mad Libs.
Yeah, really.
Ooh. Poly Mad Libs.
Oh my god, that would be fucking amazing.
Polylibs.
Polylibs. That sounds
weird.
That sounds like an STD.
A margarine substitute or something.
I don't know.
A margarine substitute. This is not
It's
even...
like a substitute for a substitute. Polylibs.
It's our some kind of STD. I'm sorry, I can't. I have polylibs.
Well, that leads us into one substitute where, I can't believe it's not sex.
Oh. Speaking of rules.
Yeah. So it's...
Oh, wait, we're talking about rules?
Yeah.
Yes, we've been talking about rules this whole time. Where have you been?
The thing about rules altogether is that if you need the rule...
Sulking.
You're going to be in trouble because somebody wants to do the thing. If you don't need the rule, there's no reason to have it. It's one of those things where if you respect each other and you respect all the members of your polycule and you are out for their best interest, whether you are directly involved with them or their meta, then you probably don't need a spoken or written rule because you've checked in, you've communicated, you have all the groundwork, and you know what's going to piss this person off. And you know what's going to hurt them. And you wouldn't rather do anything but hurt them. In fact, you're probably going to be extra careful because you don't want them hurt. So you would actually bring things up before they happen. Not, hey, I just banged the hell out of your cousin last week.
Speaking of that,
no.
Rules? Yeah, how about no banging cousins? Well, I guess depending on
again,
if you live in certain areas, it might be a necessity.
If you're in Alabama, you may not have a choice.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm just, if you feel a certain way about it.
I always say Alabama because that's not where Zan is from.
Right. But I'm giving him the incredulous looks. So
I am totally feeling called out about this.
Yes.
Well, you should.
Anyway,
so
if
anybody's wondering what Jay is talking about and what
everybody in Louisiana dates their cousins because they're all related. He actually had to marry me because I'm from Ohio and I happened to move down to Louisiana. And dun da da.
What's the fanfare for? I think you said everything. I don't think you left him with anything to say.
And we're done. I'm just walking out here.
Wow.
Let y'all finish this episode.
The Gemini is speechless.
Whoa.
What do we have here?
Silence. You get silence.
Yeah. When I've left the twins speechless, it's kind of... an accomplishment. I'm patting myself on the back right now.
So we've just revealed Zan's. Can you guess the other signs for Jay and I?
Ooh, that would be a good. So Zan's sign is Gemini. Guess mine. And?
Or mine.
Guess
I'll
Crow's.
give you a hint. It's not mine.
Yeah, we're not Geminis.
No.
Selkie.
Selkie is a Gemini. And we had another Gemini who passed. And guess ours. Guess mine. Guess Crow's.
And there you have it.
So the thing is, being from a small town in Louisiana, I'm talking like small town. And if anybody's interested, there's this podcast called Small Town Murder. So they talk about this town called Houma. And south of that town is where I grew up. So you could just imagine how I grew up.
He was knee deep in the water.
Oh, God, yes.
He was pretty much knee deep in the Gulf.
Yeah, Crow's not kidding. I mean, like literally when you put your toe in the water, it would flood. That type of thing. So anyway, dating was difficult because, like, especially if your grandparents were alive, you found out that everybody was related. I have a friend, one of my oldest friends, is her own third cousin. And
this really does happen.
Oh my God.
We're not even kidding.
Yeah, no,